Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on a really crucial exploration. It's not just about, fancy new technologies. It's about the food on our tables, the health of our rural communities, and frankly, America's economic place in the world.
That's right.
We're diving into a profound transformation that's sweeping through American agriculture right now. It's a shift so big, people are comparing it to the Industrial Revolution, or maybe even, the move from horse-drawn plows to tractors.
Yeah.
This isn't just a small upgrade. It feels like a revolution. And it's being driven by these incredibly powerful forces, artificial intelligence and automation.
You've really hit on a key point there. What we're seeing is it's far more than just introducing some new, more sophisticated machines.
Right.
This is a full-scale disruption. It's reshaping the very foundation of the agricultural industry, moving away from, relying mainly on manual labor towards this intelligent, interconnected system, all powered by machine intelligence. And the implications are just huge. They touch everything from our long-term food security as a nation to, how competitive we are globally in a world that's changing incredibly fast.
So our guide for this deep dive is an editorial by William L. Weaver. It's called The Digital Harvest. And it gives this really strategic, forward-looking view on everything happening.
A very insightful piece.
Exactly. And Weaver's insights, they're heavily informed by the detailed research in a broader report, AI Automation in Agriculture. So our mission today for you is to unpack this powerful mix of forces driving the change. We'll look at how industry is responding, the actual technologies involved, and this is critical, the human side. Specifically, we need to talk about the skills gap that's popping up and how we're trying to fix it.
Yeah, our goal is really to give you, our listener, a kind of shortcut, a way to get really well informed on this pivotal topic. We'll be sharing some maybe surprising facts and definitely practical insights into a revolution that isn't some far-off sci-fi thing.
No, it's happening right now.
It's unfolding right now in our heartland.
Okay, so let's jump in. Why now? What makes this change in agriculture not just like a slow evolution, but what Weaver calls an unprecedented and urgent national imperative to automate?
Well, what's truly fascinating here, I think, is that it's kind of a perfect storm. You've got this confluence of deliberate federal policy giving it direction.
Okay.
And then you have these really acute economic pressures that are basically forcing farmers' hands.
Right.
And finally, the technology itself is just maturing incredibly rapidly. So all three of these powerful forces are coming together, creating this intense and, largely unavoidable push towards automation.
You mentioned federal policy first. How big a deal is the government's role here? Is it really kickstarting this beyond just speeches and announcements?
Oh, it's absolutely fundamental. The U.S. government, especially through the USDA, has formally put a stake in the ground. They've recognized AI and data analytics as, critical to the future of our food supply and our global competitiveness.
So it's official policy.
It's official. This isn't just talk. It's a formal, funded, presidentially backed policy shift. It's designed to actively speed up this transition. And the clearest proof is the United States Department of Agriculture fiscal year 2025-2026 AI strategy. When Secretary Vilsack announced this, their first ever AI strategy, he pointed out USDA's long history of using tech to produce more with less. This plan, it builds right on President Biden's executive order on AI. And it's meant to build a solid foundation for the department to really boost its AI capabilities, its infrastructure, and importantly, its workforce.
Right.
It's basically a roadmap for integrating AI system-wide, and it's structured around 5 main goals.
5 goals for an AI strategy. That sounds pretty thorough. Can you walk us through those? What's the aim for each one?
Sure. First, they're focusing on AI governance and leadership, basically setting up strong oversight and clear rules for how AI is developed and used responsibly within the USDA.
Makes sense.
It shows they're serious about using AI ethically and effectively. Second, workforce readiness. This is a big one. It means investing heavily in training, recruiting specific talent, and upskilling USDA employees so they have AI-related skills.
So preparing their own people.
Exactly. It's acknowledging that the human element, having a skilled workforce, is absolutely key for AI to actually work. Third, they're building out the infrastructure and tools, developing scalable, secure AI infrastructure. The USDA AI Lab is a key part of this, a hub for innovation and trying things out. It's the digital backbone they need.
No.
Fourth is data readiness and access. This is critical. They're improving how they manage data to make sure they have the high-quality, accessible data that AI absolutely needs because AI is only as good as its data.
Garbage in, garbage out. Right.
Precisely. And finally, the fifth goal is ethical, equitable, and responsible AI use. This means adopting proven frameworks like the NIST AI Risk Management Framework to tackle potential bias, protect privacy, and make sure everything's transparent. They want this tech to benefit everyone fairly.
What strikes me here is how the government isn't just like cheering from the sidelines. They seem to be actively engineering the market for agritech and shaping the future workforce.
Yeah.
It's policy as an economic catalyst.
Exactly right. And this AI strategy, it didn't come out of nowhere. It builds logically on the groundwork laid by the FY 2024-2026 USDA data strategy.
Oh.
That earlier document was essential. It aimed to build a strong culture of data-informed decision-making. It specifically called for standardizing AI principles, promoting AI ethics, and crucially, upskilling the USDA workforce for advanced analytics and AI.
So they saw this coming.
They saw it coming. They knew that to really use AI well, they first had to get their data house in order, modernize the architecture, centralize assets, get different parts of the government working together on data and AI. It's been a very deliberate, step-by-step process.
Okay, so the government is laying the technical and policy tracks, creating what you called an economic catalyst. How does that policy commitment actually help, say, a private company or a university? Does it reduce their risk somehow?
It does, in a pretty sophisticated way. By making such a public, long-term commitment to this AI and data strategy, the federal government is basically saying this market for agritech innovation is stable, it's endorsed, and it's going to grow.
Okay, so it sends a strong signal.
A very strong signal. This policy framework significantly lowers the risk for private industry and for educational institutions thinking about investing in this area. When they set up things like the AI Center of Excellence and the USDA AI Lab, it tells everyone there will be steady demand for AI products, services, and standards in the huge agricultural sector.
Right.
And furthermore, that specific focus on workforce readiness and upskilling, that sends a crystal clear demand signal to universities.
Tells them what skills are needed.
Precisely. It tells them exactly what kind of graduates the industry will need. This gives universities the predictability they need to confidently invest in creating specialized programs to train that next generation. It lowers their risk because they know there will be jobs waiting for their students.
That makes perfect sense. Policy creates the fertile ground.
Yeah.
But then you mentioned the other side, the intense practical headwind of on-farm economics. This is where it gets really real for farmers, right? Automation isn't a choice anymore for many. It's about survival.
It absolutely is. We're talking about a critical and worsening shortage of agricultural labor, and it's fundamentally changing the math for American farmers. For many, it's not even about getting ahead anymore. It's about keeping the U.S. food supply chain stable.
Wow.
Farmers are facing a really stark choice: embrace automation or risk collapse. And that's not being dramatic. If a harvest is delayed or planting fails just because there aren't enough workers, that can trigger serious food inflation, supply chain bottlenecks. It ripples through the whole economy.
And it's worse for some crops than others?
Much worse for labor-intensive specialty crops. Things like berries, fruits, leafy greens. These can take over 100 labor hours per acre. They've historically relied very heavily on manual labor for planting, weeding, picking.
And that labor pool is shrinking.
It is. It's directly linked to both economic trends and recent policy choices. Historically, a significant chunk of the ag workforce has been immigrant labor. Some estimates say up to 40% of food production workers are undocumented. Policy stances often described as no amnesty, coupled with increased immigration enforcement, have really squeezed that traditional labor pool. Farmers are left with fewer options.
And even the legal routes, like the H-2A visa program, I hear those aren't a simple fix either. They sound increasingly tough for farmers.
They're becoming economically very difficult, borderline untenable for many farms. Farmers face rapidly rising minimum salaries through something called the adverse effect wage rate.
Adverse effect wage rate. What's that exactly?
It's essentially a minimum wage set by the government specifically for these temporary agricultural workers. The idea is to prevent their hiring from negatively impacting the wages of U.S. workers already here.
Got it.
But this rate has been climbing sharply. For instance, in Illinois, it jumped over $5 an hour just between 2020 and 2025. That's a huge increase.
Wow.
And on top of that wage, farmers have to pay significant administrative fees, plus the hefty costs of providing housing and transportation for these H-2A workers. Farmers themselves are saying it's scary and unsustainable. It's forcing some to cut back on labor-intensive crops or even stop growing them altogether. It's a massive challenge.
So you've got labor costs shooting up, but you said automation is getting cheaper. There must be a tipping point, right? What's the economic equation driving this shift so hard?
The equation is becoming incredibly clear and compelling. It reveals a really profound shift. Farm wages, on average, are up about 15% since 2020.
Okay.
At the same time, the costs for automation technologies are dropping roughly 8% every year.
So wages up, tech costs down.
Exactly. This creates a very clear crossover point. For more and more agricultural tasks, technology either has already become cheaper than human labor, or it's getting there very, very quickly. This isn't just a trend, it's like a fundamental rewiring of agricultural economics. It makes automation not just competitive, but an economic inevitability for survival. That's really a core insight in Weaver's The Digital Harvest. It's a revolution being forced by economics.
And this labor crisis is also changing the type of work needed.
Right, absolutely. It's fundamentally reshaping the nature of farm work itself. It's causing the structural shift in what kind of workers are in demand. We no longer need a massive pool of manual laborers for driving, picking, scouting. Instead, we need a smaller but highly skilled group of technicians and specialists.
People who can manage the tech.
Precisely. People who can install, operate, maintain, troubleshoot, and manage these complex robotic and data-driven systems that are replacing the manual labor. But this rapid forced innovation cycle has, well, unfortunately, created a big skills gap. The market now urgently needs people with expertise in robotics, data analysis, GIS, geospatial information systems, advanced digital literacy, skills that weren't traditionally front and center in agronomy.
So it's incredibly clear how this mix, the deliberate federal policy push and this intense economic pressure, is creating this unprecedented, urgent drive towards automation. It's really not just a good idea anymore. It sounds like a genuine necessity for American agriculture to survive and grow.
Okay, with those powerful drivers clear in our minds, let's shift gears. Let's look at the industrial response. Who exactly is building this automated future? You mentioned a fundamental strategic realignment happening. Companies moving from just selling machines to delivering these integrated, data-driven solutions.
That's the heart of it. And what's really interesting is how the industry is thinking about this shift. They're talking in terms of comprehensive technology stacks.
Technology stacks, like in software development. Exactly like that, but applied to agriculture. These are cohesive solutions that bundle together the hardware, the software embedded in the machines, the connectivity needed, and sophisticated data analytics on top. It's no longer about selling just a tractor. It's about delivering a cohesive, intelligent system that interacts with the entire farm operation.
And the big players, the titans of agritech, are leading this charge. It sounds like they're doing more than just tweaking things. They're really re-architecting their whole businesses.
They absolutely are. Look at John Deere. They've been ahead of the curve for maybe 2 decades, right? Introducing self-steering tractors that really changed precision farming. Now, they're actively testing fully autonomous models out with real customers.
Wow.
Their whole strategy, which they call Deere Smart Industrial, is about unlocking new value by integrating smart tech with their manufacturing strength. It's based on 3 main pillars. First, production systems. Basically, aligning their products into integrated roadmaps that cover a farmer's entire job, start to finish. Second is their technology stack. This is a big investment in intuitive hardware, embedded software, connectivity, data platforms, apps, all delivering intelligent solutions. And third, lifecycle solutions, integrating aftermarket support and service to manage the equipment and tech over its whole life.
Dude, it's a huge shift.
It's a decisive shift, moving from selling, discrete pieces of iron to providing these holistic, data-centric production systems.
That's a very clear transformation from hardware-focused to solution-focused.
Right.
What about C&H Industrial? They own brands people know, like Case IH and New Holland. Are they following a similar path?
C&H is definitely pursuing a similarly aggressive tech-forward strategy. Their official business plan talks about advancing iron plus tech integration. They have an ambitious goal, nearly double the sales coming from their precision tech division.
Doubling sales from tech, that's significant.
Very significant. And a key part of their plan is vertical integration. C&H aims to develop 90% of its precision tech systems in-house by 2030. This reduces their reliance on third-party suppliers for critical components.
Taking control of the tech stack.
Exactly. They've also made key strategic acquisitions. The big one was Raven Industries back in 2021. That brought leading autonomous platforms like OmniPower and OmniDrive under their umbrella. And they're forming targeted partnerships too, like working with Blue White to bring autonomous solutions to that high-value specialty crop market, remember the area, with the intense labor shortage we discussed.
Right, hitting that pain point.
Precisely. Their plan involves progressively rolling out autonomous functions, starting with planting, then expanding across the whole farming cycle. And it's all supported by their tech stack, which includes advanced automation, guidance systems, and a comprehensive connectivity platform they call FieldOps.
Okay, so both John Deere and CNH are building these massive integrated ecosystems. What about Trimble? They come at this from a different angle, more from the GPS side, right? How do they fit in?
Yeah, Trimble has deep roots in GPS and positioning tech. So they approach the market more as a pure-play technology provider. They focus on the digital solutions rather than the heavy machinery itself. Their stated mission is to use AI to automate processes, augment your workforce, improve decisions, and enhance team productivity. Trimble offers this really comprehensive suite of precision ag solutions, covering the entire farming workflow, land prep, water management, planting, spraying, harvesting, you name it.
So software and data solutions across the board.
Exactly. Their strategy really emphasizes seamless connectivity between machines and making decisions based on data. They position their user-friendly tech as essential tools for boosting farm productivity, profitability, and this is increasingly important, sustainability.
Now, given that these big players are all building these vast integrated systems, what does that mean for a typical farmer? Many probably have a mix of older equipment, maybe from different brands. How do they even navigate this shift? It sounds potentially complex.
That's a really excellent question, and it highlights a critical challenge. The reality for many farmers is a mixed fleet of equipment, bought over years, maybe decades, from different manufacturers. This creates significant interoperability problems.
Things don't talk to each other easily.
Not easily at all. This shift means farmers increasingly need to think less about buying one machine and more about how all the different technologies connect and communicate. It pushes them towards adopting a sort of system of systems approach where the flow of data and managing everything together becomes paramount.
So it requires a different mindset.
A different mindset and potentially more strategic investments, maybe in software platforms that can pull data from different sources or working with specialized integrators. It's definitely a complex transition for many farmers out there.
Indeed. And this whole revolution is not just the giants, right? You mentioned it's also being pushed by this vibrant ecosystem of startups.
Yeah.
How are these smaller, maybe more agile companies contributing?
That's a really critical piece of the puzzle. You have this new generation of startups really pushing the boundaries, often finding and solving very specific niche problems with highly specialized solutions.
Can you give some examples?
Sure. Companies like, say, Solentech. They're developing AI-powered platforms to help large farms optimize crop planting and just run more efficiently. Or Taranis, they use super high-resolution aerial images and generative AI to predict crop health issues before they become serious, allowing for proactive treatment.
Wow, predictive healthcare for crops.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have companies like Ironox, pioneering robotics in indoor vertical farms. They have robots like Grover that autonomously monitor the health of individual plants. These startups often act as the engines of innovation, developing really cutting-edge tech that eventually gets integrated into the broader market.
How does that integration happen? Acquisitions?
Yeah,
Partnerships?
both. We've seen strategic acquisitions like Taranis being bought by the big agribusiness Syngenta or Farm by Bonsai Robotics. And partnerships are key too, like New Holland working with Blue White on autonomy. The startups develop these focused, cutting-edge solutions, and then the larger corporations help scale them up through their distribution networks and R&D muscle.
That sounds like a really symbiotic relationship. The big companies build the roads, and the startups build the specialized vehicles, maybe.
That's a great analogy. The large manufacturers like John Deere and CNH, they're building the foundational platforms. You could think of them as the operating systems of the farm.
Right.
This includes the heavy machinery, the computers on board, the cloud systems for data. CNH's strategy even explicitly mentions a plug-and-play approach to partners' ecosystems. So in this model, the agile startups act like app developers.
Wow.
They create specialized, high-value solutions. Maybe it's an advanced pest detection algorithm, a new type of soil sensor, or an autonomous retrofit kit for older equipment that plug into these larger platforms.
And this must be creating fascinating new career paths, too.
It absolutely is. It creates these two distinct but connected career tracks for people with tech skills. One path is working at a major OEM like Deere or CNH on the core platform technologies, the operating system, the hardware. The other path is innovating at a nimble startup, developing those specialized applications that add value to the platform. It's becoming a really dynamic talent landscape.
So lots of new opportunities. But for this whole ecosystem, the giants, the startup, the platforms, the apps, for it all to work together smoothly, there has to be some common ground, isn't there?
Yeah.
Standards seem like they'd be absolutely essential.
And absolutely crucial. Common standards are vital. And this is where industry groups like the Association of Equipment Manufacturers, or AEM, play a really important role.
AEM?
Yeah, AEM brings together over 1,000 member companies. Their goal is to shape policy, harness data, and meet the ever-changing expectations of customers. A key thing AEM does is develop guidance documents. These create a common language and framework for really complex topics.
Like what?
They've published specific guidance on autonomy, on cybersecurity, on data handling. This provides a structured vocabulary to guide how the industry talks about these things and develops solutions. This work on standardization directly tackles one of the biggest hurdles to adopting new tech: the lack of interoperability.
That problem of machines not talking to each other.
Exactly. That lack of interoperability between equipment and software from different manufacturers. By promoting common understanding and standards, AEM helps ensure that all the different parts of the digital farm from different brands, different types of machines, can actually communicate and work together as one cohesive system instead of being stuck in separate, isolated silos.
Okay, so what we're seeing is this real full-court press. You've got government mandates pushing things forward, corporate giants retooling, nimble startups innovating like crazy, and associations trying to create the standards to make it all work together. It's a truly coordinated effort, driven by both necessity and massive opportunity. This brings us to the really exciting part, the technologies themselves. What actually makes up this digital harvest? You've mentioned these technologies don't work in isolation. How should we think about how they interact? Is it helpful to visualize it as maybe a layered stack, turning data into real action?
That's a perfect way to think about it, yes. Visualizing it as a layered stack is incredibly helpful for understanding how it all fits together. We can conceptualize this agri-tech stack as having 4 distinct but deeply interconnected layers.
Okay, 4 layers.
At the very foundation, you have precision agriculture. Then sitting on top of that is the intelligence layer, which is powered by AI and data analytics. Above that, you have the action layer, involving robotics and automation. And finally, tying it all together is the critical connectivity layer, which really acts like the nervous system for the whole operation.
Okay.
Each layer builds on the one below it, creating this powerful synergy where data flows up and commands flow down.
Let's start at the bottom then. Precision agriculture. This sounds like the basic philosophy, the set of practices that everything else relies on.
It really is. Precision agriculture marks this fundamental shift in thinking. Instead of managing a whole field as one uniform block, you manage it as a mosaic of unique, smaller zones, sometimes even down to the level of an individual plant.
Wow, that granular.
Yeah. The core idea is simple but powerful. Apply the right input, water, fertilizer, pesticide, whatever it is in the right amount, at the right place, and crucially, at the right time.
Makes sense.
And to do this, it relies on various technologies to measure and respond to all that variability within the field. You use GPS, combined with location-specific data. That data might come from sensors in the field measuring soil properties, or from remote sensing data gathered by drones, planes, or satellites. All this goes into creating highly detailed maps of field conditions.
So you know exactly what's needed where.
Exactly. This granular data lets farmers move beyond just applying an average treatment across the whole field, which almost always means over-applying in some spots and under-applying in others. The benefits are pretty significant. You get more consistent crop yields, you reduce your input costs, and there are big environmental wins too by minimizing the runoff of excess fertilizers and chemicals into rivers and streams.
That sounds incredibly logical, efficient, smart. But here's something that might surprise you, our listener. Despite this tech being around since the 90s, a U.S. Government Accountability Office report found that as of 2023, only about 27% of U.S. farms were actually using precision agriculture practices.
Yeah, it's quite striking.
That just highlights this massive untapped potential for growth, doesn't it? And, of course, a huge need for a skilled workforce to actually implement it more widely.
Indeed, it really shows how much potential is still waiting to be unlocked. So, moving up the stack from that foundation. If precision ag provides the detailed data, Then the next layer, the intelligence layer, provides the brain power to make sense of it all.
Okay, the brain.
This is where artificial intelligence, machine learning, and advanced data analytics come in. These are the engines that take those torrents of raw data from sensors, drones, machines, and turn them into predictive insights and actual actionable intelligence. This is where the real optimization of the farm happens. It allows farmers to manage proactively instead of just reacting to problems after they pop up.
So what are some key applications within this intelligence layer? What's making a real difference for farmers right now?
Well, a major one is predictive analytics. AI models are being trained on huge historical data sets, crop yields, weather patterns, soil types, satellite images, you name it, to forecast future outcomes.
Like predicting the future.
Kind of. These models can predict crop yields with pretty high accuracy. They can recommend the best times to plant or harvest. They can even forecast pest or disease outbreaks before they become critical problems. This predictive ability helps farmers manage risk much better and really optimize their marketing because they have a much better idea of what their harvest will look like weeks or even months ahead. Then there's computer vision. This is a fascinating area of AI that lets machines see and interpret the world through cameras.
Machines that can see.
Exactly. In agriculture, computer vision is powering things like targeted spraying systems. These systems can identify an individual weed in a vast field and apply just a tiny microdose of herbicide only to that weed.
Wow, that precise.
That precise. It drastically cuts down on chemical use and the environmental impact. Computer vision is also used to analyze aerial images to monitor crop health or forest vitality, assess damage after floods or fires, and it even allows autonomous tractors to see and navigate around obstacles in the field, which is crucial for safety and efficiency.
That's incredible. Like a targeted, almost surgical approach to farming. Now, what about something called digital twins? That sounds really futuristic, almost like science fiction.
It really is on the cutting edge. Researchers, for example, at the AI Institute for Resilient Agriculture, AIRRA, are actually creating these functional, virtual replicas, digital twins of individual plants or even entire farm fields.
For a virtual farm.
Essentially, yes. And these digital twins aren't static. They're constantly updated with real-world data streaming in from sensors and drones. This allows scientists and farmers to run complex simulations. They can test different genetic varieties, different fertilizer strategies, various irrigation schedules, all in the virtual world first.
To see what works best without risking the real crop.
Exactly. The goal is to find the optimal approach before deploying it in the real field. This minimizes risk, saves resources, and dramatically speeds up innovation. And of course, all these powerful AI systems need fuel, right? That fuel is data, coming from a huge range of sources. Sensors in the ground measuring moisture and nutrients, high-res images from drones and satellites, real-time weather station data, and telematics data streaming directly from tractors and combines. It all forms this rich, dynamic data set.
Okay, so we've got the data from Precision Ag. We've made sense of it with the AI intelligence layer. Now the action layer. This is where that digital intelligence gets translated into actual physical work on the farm, right?
Precisely. This layer covers a whole spectrum of technologies. It ranges from things that just augment what a human operator does, all the way to fully autonomous systems that can operate 24/7 with very little supervision. The most visible part here is probably the autonomous tractor.
The self-driving tractor.
The self-driving tractor. Both John Deere and CNH Industrial are investing heavily in developing and rolling out fully autonomous tractors and combines. These machines can do tasks like tilling and planting around the clock. Doesn't matter if it's day or night. Doesn't matter if a human is tired.
And managed remotely.
Yep, they can be monitored and controlled remotely by a farmer using just a smartphone or a tablet. They navigate using GPS for precision, and they have an array of cameras and sensors to detect obstacles in real time. This allows a single farmer to potentially manage multiple machines at once, really multiplying their productivity. But it's not just the big machines. Automation is being applied to a whole range of tasks, from the field right into the farm office. Take robotic process automation, or RPA. This is software that automates repetitive, rules-based digital tasks, think data entry, processing invoices. Even the USDA itself is using RPA to streamline its internal business processes.
So automating paperwork, too.
Exactly. Shows how broad the application is. And back in the field, you have highly specialized robotics being developed for the most labor-intensive jobs, especially in those delicate specialty crops we talked about.
Like the berry pickers.
Like robotic harvesters, yeah. Equipped with sophisticated deep learning vision systems so they can pick delicate crops like blackberries without bruising them. You also have autonomous weeders for precise removal and robots like Grover at indoor farms like Iron Ox that autonomously patrol and monitor the health of individual plants, maybe even doing micro-interventions like targeted watering or spotting pests early.
It's truly transforming every single aspect of farming, from the biggest tractor down to the individual plant. Now, none of this amazing tech works seamlessly without that layer you called the invisible but essential nervous system, the connectivity layer.
That's absolutely right. It's the unsung hero. Without robust, reliable communication channels, the sensors can't send their data up, the AI platforms can't deliver their insights down, and the robotic machines can't receive their commands. This layer, which includes the Internet of Things, IoT, data standards, and the actual physical network infrastructure like broadband, it actually represents one of the biggest technological gaps and challenges facing the widespread adoption of smart farming today.
A major bottleneck, then.
A major bottleneck. The Government Accountability Office, the GAO, specifically identified the lack of ubiquitous, reliable rural broadband as a major barrier holding back precision agriculture adoption.
Because these technologies need constant connection.
Many of the most advanced ones do. They rely on constant, high-speed internet access to stream massive amounts of data up to the cloud for processing and to receive real-time commands back down. If you're in an area with poor or spotty connectivity, the value of all this smart equipment just plummets. It turns expensive tech into, well, less efficient tools. And just as challenging is the ongoing lack of data standards and interoperability between equipment from different brands. Right now, the data generated by, say, a tractor from one company might not be easily usable by software or an implement made by another company.
Those walled gardens you mentioned earlier.
Exactly, those walled gardens. It creates huge complexity for farmers. It kind of forces them into single-brand ecosystems and limits their ability to pick and choose the best tool for each specific job. This vendor lock-in ultimately stifles innovation and competition.
And farmers must worry about their data, too.
Definitely. Farmers express significant concerns about who owns their data, about privacy, about security. They're often hesitant to share their valuable farm data because they don't trust the complex data license agreements, or they're just unsure where it's going. Recognizing this critical bottleneck, industry groups like AEM are actively working to promote common data standards. The goal is to improve equipment interoperability and build a more open, connected agricultural ecosystem where data can flow more freely and securely.
So you can really see the incredible ambition and the sheer technical complexity involved in building out this entire agri-tech stack. But what about the people? The people needed to design, build, operate, and maintain all of this. That brings us squarely to the crucial human element. It's so clear that this technological revolution we're mapping out isn't just about the machines. It's fundamentally a human story, isn't it? This shift towards automated, data-driven farming seems like it's creating a seismic shift in the agricultural job market. What does that shift actually look like on the ground?
That's absolutely right. The core dynamic here is this structural shift. We're moving away from needing a large manual workforce and towards depending on a smaller but much more specialized technical workforce.
Fewer hands, more brains.
In a way, yes. When you adopt AI-powered, self-driving tractors, robotic harvesters, automated management systems, that directly reduces the need for people doing the driving, the picking, the field scouting. But, and this is the crucial part, these same systems create a powerful new demand for individuals who can design them, install them, operate them, maintain them, and manage them. It's a complete redefinition of the roles needed on a farm or in the supporting industries.
So the whole career landscape in agriculture is being redrawn. Entirely new professions must be emerging. What are some of these new high-demand roles?
Well, the precision agriculture specialist has really emerged as a key profession. These folks need expertise in GPS, agricultural drones, remote sensing, data analysis, all focused on making farming more efficient and sustainable. Beyond that, the AI and agriculture market is booming, projected to hit $4 billion by 2026.
Wow, $4 billion.
Yeah, it's creating high-paying opportunities for AI engineers, data scientists, and machine learning specialists who can apply their skills specifically to agricultural problems. Whether it's optimizing planting patterns or predicting disease outbreaks, there's huge demand. And this new reality, it demands a fundamentally different skill set for the workforce of tomorrow. First, digital literacy is foundational. Just being comfortable using digital tools, advanced machine interfaces, cloud software. Then, strong data analysis skills are essential, being able to look at large data sets, spot trends, draw conclusions, and use that data to make smarter decisions on the farm.
Makes sense.
Expertise in robotics and automation is obviously crucial. Knowing how to operate, maintain, troubleshoot these complex robotic systems. That includes familiarity with programming, maybe machine learning principles, even mechanical repair. And finally, an understanding of sustainability practices is becoming vital. Knowing how to use technology to hit environmental goals like reducing water use, minimizing chemical inputs, promoting biodiversity while still maximizing yield.
That's a pretty comprehensive new skill set required. But you mentioned a skills gap. Is this just a potential future problem, or is it a real barrier right now?
Oh, it's very real, and it's a significant barrier today. There's this well-documented gap between the skills that the new agricultural economy demands and the skills that the current workforce actually possesses. That GAO report on precision ag, it explicitly listed additional education and training needs and difficulties with data analysis and interpretation as major challenges holding back wider adoption.
So farmers are struggling to use the data.
Exactly. An analysis from Dalhousie University also identified access to specialized skills as a critical challenge. They noted a shortage of professionals who know how to handle data integration, connectivity, optimizing these technologies for farm use. This skills gap creates a really clear and urgent mandate for higher education.
So universities need to step up.
They do. The consensus from industry analysts and government reports is clear. We have to invest in training and skill development. And that means robust collaboration between academic institutions and industry experts. Universities are really uniquely positioned to bridge this gap. They need to develop new curricula, new training programs, designed specifically to produce graduates with the hybrid skills that modern agriculture desperately needs.
Okay, so how are universities responding? Are we seeing forward-thinking institutions pioneering new educational models to tackle this?
We absolutely are. These universities are moving beyond the traditional siloed academic departments. They're creating integrated research institutes and these innovative living labs that really bridge the gap between basic research, student training, and what actually happens on a real farm.
Living labs.
Yeah, we'll get to that. And the federal government is actively fueling this. The National Science Foundation, NSF, and the USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture, NIFA, have jointly funded a series of major AI research institutes at top universities. We're talking awards of up to $20 million per institute. It's a significant investment.
Can you give us an example or two of these institutes? What makes their approach different or effective?
Sure. A prime example is the AI Institute for Resilient Agriculture, AIA, based of Iowa State. AIRA brings together scientists, farmers, industry partners, a whole team to develop and adapt AI tech like those digital twins we talked about for real-world farm challenges. Another is the AI Institute for Next Generation Food Systems, AIFS, at UC Davis. AIFS is now home to the NSF-funded AI Institute's virtual organization, AIVO, which acts as a national hub coordinating all the federal AI institutes.
So they're building networks.
Building networks, and crucially, embracing an interdisciplinary approach. Look at the Chai Ag Term Lab at the University of Minnesota. It brings together economists, scientists, engineers, all working together to figure out the economic impacts and risks of new ag technologies. This reflects the reality. Solving complex farm problems needs a systems-level approach, integrating technical, economic, and scientific viewpoints. You can't just look at the tech in isolation.
That interdisciplinary focus sounds absolutely key for these complex challenges. But tell me more about that living lab model you mentioned. That sounds like a really practical, hands-on way to learn and innovate.
It is, and it's proving to be a particularly effective model. It speeds up how fast new tech spreads, and it gives students invaluable hands-on experience. Think of it as a collaborative platform. You get farmers, researchers, tech developers, students all coming together to co-create, test, and validate new technologies, but in real-world farming environments, not just in a university lab.
It's like a real-world test bed.
Exactly. The ARA Living Lab in Italy is a great example. This setup creates this incredibly valuable feedback loop. It ensures technologies are developed to meet the actual practical needs of the farmers using them. And it's a powerful teaching tool, too. Students get involved in actual field trials. They learn directly from farmers and tech developers. They apply what they learned in class to tangible, immediate problems. These pioneering university initiatives really provide a blueprint for how higher education can and must respond to the digital harvest. They're shaping the workforce we need for tomorrow.
You can really see how vital these university efforts are, creating the environment to build the skilled workforce needed for this whole new agricultural future. Okay, let's just try and tie all this together now with a specific blueprint for education. We can focus on the vision coming out of the SAIL laboratory. You've really emphasized that the true power here isn't in any single technology, but in how they're integrated seamlessly to solve complex problems. What does that integration actually look like in practice?
That's precisely the key. Think about a robotic harvester. It's not just one machine doing one thing. It's a complex system, right? It uses computer vision, that's an AI problem. It processes huge amounts of image data, that's a data science problem. It has to physically move motors and groupers, that's a hardware control problem. And it needs to report its status back to a dashboard somewhere, that's a web application problem.
So many different pieces.
So many different pieces. And the core technologies driving this whole revolution, data analytics, machine learning, IoT dashboards, robotic control, they map really cleanly onto the specific expertise found in what we refer to as the JavaScript Python LabVIEW UW or JPL technology stack.
JPL stack. Okay.
The point is, no single language or tool is enough on its own anymore. These complex agricultural problems demand an integrated skill set, fluency across these different domains.
That's a great way to frame it. Can you break down that JPL stack for us? What role does each part, JavaScript, Python, LabVIEW, play in building these integrated ag solutions?
Certainly. Let's start with JavaScript. Think of JavaScript as the key to visualization and interaction. It's the human-machine interface. It takes all that complex data and analysis and translates it into the intuitive dashboards and interactive web apps that a farm manager actually uses to make decisions in real time.
So it's how you see the data.
It's how you see and interact with your farm's digital self, essentially. Then you have Python. Python is, well, it's the undisputed king of data science and machine learning right now. It's the brain behind the predictive models that analyze field data, optimize water use, predict pests, maximize yields. All the intelligence is largely built in Python.
The analytical engine.
Exactly. And finally, there's LabVIEW. LabVIEW is the real workhorse for industrial automation and data acquisition. It's the foundational I/O layer, the nervous system connecting the digital world to the physical world. It talks to the sensors, controls the actuators, manages everything from smart irrigation pumps to automated harvester arms. It's how digital commands become physical actions in the field.
Okay, visualization, JavaScript, intelligence, Python, action, LabVIEW.
You got it. And this JPL stack isn't just a random collection of tools. It's really the integrated toolkit needed to build the future of agriculture. It allows you to create complete end-to-end solutions.
That's a really clear picture of how these pieces fit together. Now, you put together a fascinating table in the source material that maps specific agri-tech applications directly to this SAIL JPL stack. Could you walk us through a few examples from that? Show us how each part of the stack contributes.
I'd be happy to. Let's take crop yield prediction. Here, Python is the star for collecting and cleaning all that historical data, weather, soil, past yields, etc. Then you use Python libraries to train and validate sophisticated machine learning models, maybe regression or random forest algorithms, to actually forecast the future yields.
Okay, Python does the prediction.
Right. Then JavaScript comes in to build the interactive web dashboards. You might use libraries like D3.js or Chart.js. These are popular JavaScript tools for making dynamic web visuals to display those predicted yields on an easy-to-read map or show trends over time. So a student learning this gains the skill to develop and deploy a complete machine learning solution, from raw data right through to an interactive visualization for the farmer. Okay, next example, automated weed spraying. This is a powerful one. Here, Python is essential for developing the computer vision model. You'd use libraries like TensorFlow or OpenCV, powerful open source tools for ML and image processing, to train a model that can accurately tell the difference between a crop plant and a weed from a live camera feed.
Python does the seeing.
Python does the seeing and identifying. Then, LabVIEW handles the real-time hardware control. It interfaces directly with the camera to grab the images fast, and then, based on Python's output, that's a weed, LabVIEW precisely controls the little solenoid valves on the sprayer nozzles to deliver a microdose just to that weed. A student trained here learns how to design these hardware-in-the-loop vision systems for real-time precision ag, which drastically cuts chemical use.
That's a fantastic combination for efficiency and being environmentally friendly. What about something maybe more foundational, like soil moisture monitoring and smart irrigation? How does the stack work there?
Good example. For soil moisture monitoring and smart irrigation, LabVIEW is perfect for acquiring the analog data from those sensors stuck in the ground. It might use a DQ card, like an NI-MyRIO, that's a common device for data acquisition and control in these systems. LabVIEW also directly controls the hardware, the water pump motor, or the irrigation valves.
LabVIEW talks to the sensors and pumps.
Correct. Then Python comes in to script the higher level automation logic. Maybe a simple rule like, if moisture drops below threshold X, turn on the pump for Y minutes. Python is also great for logging all that sensor data to a database for tracking trends over time. And finally, JavaScript lets you create a real-time web interface. A farmer can pull it up on their phone, see the current moisture levels in different zones, and even manually turn the pump on or off if needed.
So the farmer stays in control via the web.
Exactly. The student skill here is building complete IoT systems, integrating the physical sensors, the control hardware, the data logging, and the remote user interface. Another really crucial application, especially for bigger farms, is a comprehensive farm management dashboard. Python, using libraries like GeoPandas, which is like the Pandas library but for map data, is excellent for processing and analyzing huge amounts of geospatial data from drones or satellites. Things like NDVI values, which indicate plant health. It stands for Normalized Difference Vegetation Index. It's a common way to measure how healthy and vigorous plants are based on how they reflect different colors of light, usually captured from satellite or drone imagery.
Got it. Python processes the map data.
Right. Then JavaScript, using map libraries like Leaflet or Mapbox, popular tools for putting interactive maps on the web, creates these layered interactive dashboards. You can visualize crop health from NDVI, soil types, maybe even the real-time location of tractors, all on one dynamic map. This gives students the skill to build sophisticated map-based dashboards, pulling together multiple data streams for truly holistic farm management. And one more, let's look at robotic harvester control. This is pretty complex. Here, LabVIEW would handle the low-level control interface for the robotic arm itself, controlling the motors precisely, reading data from sensors like proximity sensors or encoders to know exactly where the arm is.
LabVIEW moves the arm.
Moves the arm precisely. Then Python implements the higher-level logic. Things like path planning, figuring out the best route for the robot to take through the field, and integrating data from multiple sensors to guide the robot's actions, like deciding exactly when and how to grasp a piece of fruit. And JavaScript. It would be used to develop the remote control and monitoring interface, letting a human operator supervise, tweak parameters, or take over manually if something goes wrong.
So programming complex robots from top to bottom.
Exactly. The student becomes proficient across the entire control stack, from the low-level hardware interface right up to the high-level autonomous logic.
It becomes incredibly clear then how essential it is to have skills across this whole stack, JavaScript, Python, LabVIEW, to build these truly integrated end-to-end solutions that agriculture needs now. This detailed mapping must also provide a really strong foundation for designing university curricula, right? Guiding how we educate the next generation of agri-tech specialists.
It absolutely does. To really prepare students for this new innovation economy, any academic program needs to be built on this philosophy of interdisciplinary, project-based learning. If you look at pioneering programs, maybe like those at the University of Illinois or Clark State, you see a consensus emerging on several key parts of the curriculum.
What are those key parts?
Well, first, a successful curriculum needs an interdisciplinary foundation. Technical skills alone just aren't enough. Students need foundational knowledge in agronomy, soil science, even agricultural business. This gives them the deep domain context to really understand the complex. Second, integrated project-based learning is crucial. Students learn best by tackling real problems. The curriculum should revolve around immersive capstone projects and hands-on labs that mirror real-world challenges. And these projects should explicitly require students to use Python, JavaScript, and LabVIEW together to solve a single complex problem. Like maybe design and build a complete automated greenhouse monitoring system from the sensors right up to the cloud dashboard.
So not teaching the languages in isolation.
Exactly. Teach integrated problem solving. Third, there needs to be a sharp focus on in-demand skills. The curriculum has to deliberately target the specific skills that industry and government reports keep highlighting as critical. Coursework needs to cover data analysis, GIS and remote sensing, machine learning, robotic systems design and operation, and even practical equipment maintenance for automated systems.
Practical, job-ready skills.
And that leads to the fourth point, industry-recognized credentials. Wherever possible, the program should prepare students for valuable industry certifications. Maybe a Part 107 drone pilot license, or certifications in specific hardware platforms or software. This makes graduates highly marketable and ready to hit the ground running.
That sounds like a really solid plan for preparing students, and this all connects back to the SAIL Laboratory's grand challenge, doesn't it? This idea of becoming a leading academic hub for developing and democratizing these tools for agricultural automation. How should SAIL specifically go about achieving that ambitious vision?
Exactly. To really seize this historic opportunity and position itself as a national leader, the SAIL Laboratory should pursue a set of very concrete strategic actions that play to its unique strengths. First, and maybe most importantly, it should establish a SAIL Living Lab.
The living lab idea again.
Yes. The most powerful way to bridge theory and practice is to create this living lab environment by partnering with local farms. This creates a real-world testbed for cutting-edge research and hands-on education. Think about the benefits. Students get unparalleled hands-on experience, faculty generate unique, reality-grounded data sets for research, and it serves as a compelling demonstration platform to attract industry partners and federal funding. It really transforms a lab from just simulation to actual application and innovation. Second, forge deep industry partnerships. The lab needs to proactively engage with all those key players we talked about, the big OEMs like Deere and CNH, the tech providers like Trimble, innovative local startups. The goal is to build symbiotic relationships.
What would those look like?
Things like joint research projects, industry-sponsored capstone projects where students tackle real challenges companies are facing, robust internship programs creating direct pipelines to jobs, and maybe forming a curriculum advisory board with industry experts to keep the program relevant. This directly meets the industry's desperate need for talent. Third, strategically target federal funding opportunities. The government is putting serious money into this area because they see its national importance. The SAIL Lab needs to systematically go after grants from U.S. DENIFA. They have specific funding tracks for ag systems tech and AI, and also joint programs with the NSF supporting AI research institutes. This very report we're discussing, with its evidence and clear plan, could be a cornerstone for strong grant proposals. Fourth, develop a tiered workforce training program. Besides the core degree programs, SAIL should offer non-degree options. Think professional certificates in ag data analytics or robotics, maybe intensive workshops or boot camps designed to upskill the existing agricultural workforce, farmers, managers, technicians who need to adapt to these new technologies right now.
So helping those already in the field, too.
Exactly. It creates another revenue stream, deepens the university's connection to the community, and addresses the immediate needs of people navigating this transition. And finally, a really crucial strategic point. Market the integrated stack advantage.
Emphasize the JPL focus.
Emphasize it relentlessly. In all communications, talking to prospective students, funding agencies, industry partners, the lab must hammer home its unique value proposition. The focus on integrating data science, Python, visualization, JavaScript, and hardware control, LabVIEW. This positions SAIL graduates not just as programmers in one language, but as versatile systems thinkers capable of building complete end-to-end solutions. This narrative directly addresses those huge industry challenges about interoperability and systems integration, making SAIL's mission not just relevant, but essential.
And as a final specific innovation goal for SAIL, you mentioned something called SHIFU. What exactly is SHIFU, and how does it fit into this grand vision?
Right, SHIFU. It stands for Standard Holistic Information Framework for Understanding. SHIFU is envisioned as a flagship project tackling a really fundamental need: the rapid automation of research itself, particularly at the lab bench and small plot scale.
Automating the research process.
Exactly. The framework aims to provide a standardized, modular platform to dramatically speed up the validation of new agricultural methods and technologies. Imagine a researcher testing a new type of soil amendment. With SHIFU, they could easily deploy a suite of sensors managed by LabVW, process the data using advanced models in Python, and monitor the experiment's progress in real time via a custom dashboard built with JavaScript, all integrated through the SHIFU framework.
So it makes research faster and more efficient.
Precisely. This focus on research-scale automation tackles a critical bottleneck in agricultural science. It speeds up discovery and validation. And this is exactly the kind of high-impact foundational innovation that a university lab like SAIL is uniquely positioned to pioneer and then hopefully democratize for wider use.
That really does sound like more than just a research direction. It feels like a genuine call to the frontier, as Weaver puts it. It's a powerful vision for agriculture's future, with skilled people placed right at the very heart of it, driving that innovation forward. And that brings us toward the end of this deep dive into the digital harvest. We've really covered a lot of ground today. We journeyed through the powerful forces driving this profound transformation in American agriculture. starting with those strategic policy shifts and the acute economic pressures.
Mm-hmm.
Then looking at the innovative industry response, unpacking the intricate layers of that agri-tech stack,
Yeah.
and focusing, crucially, on the human element at the core of it all.
Yeah, we've seen how this convergence of factors is making automation not just, an interesting option, but truly an imperative for the future of how we produce food. We explored how major industries are fundamentally shifting their business models towards integrated, data-driven solutions, and how those nimble startups are adding so much to the ecosystem. And we detailed why a skilled, multidisciplinary workforce, fluent in those integrated technologies like Python, JavaScript, and LabVIEW is absolutely necessary if we want to realize the full potential of this digital revolution.
Our hope is that by understanding all these interconnected forces, you, our listener, are now better positioned to see the bigger picture. The picture of how our food is produced, how cutting-edge technology is being applied in sometimes unexpected ways, and maybe where exciting new career opportunities are emerging right here in our heartland.
Yeah, the information from these sources really paints a picture of a future where farming is defined by precision, efficiency, and intelligence. It's a future that genuinely promises to feed a growing global population using fewer resources and with less environmental impact. That feels like a significant step forward for all of us.
Absolutely. So as we stand here kind of on the edge of this profound transformation, embracing technology to farm, as they say, more with less, it makes you wonder, what other unexpected ripples might this digital harvest create? Ripples in our relationship with the land, with our food, maybe even with each other. How might this relentless drive for efficiency ultimately redefine not just what we grow, but perhaps who we are as a society? Definitely something to ponder long after our microphones fade.